Afternoon all, how we doing? I haven't got the silly eye contact thing on this afternoon, so I won't be staring at you with wide eyes for those of you that were here in the morning live room. If you weren't, you won't know what I'm talking about. Afternoon, John. Afternoon, Diar. How you doing? Afternoon, can't pronounce your name because it's in a foreign language, but good afternoon. Afternoon, David, Baggy, Daniel, Beginia, Diamond, Seymour, Dereska, William. Sound like that TV program from the 60s where they just went through, good night, John Bob, good night, blah, 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 blah. I didn't watch it, but afternoon, Anna. Internet is back, yes. Internet was down yesterday, back now. Went up and down all day yesterday. Afternoon, Martin. Afternoon, Mark. Right, we had a bit of afternoon whacking. We had a bit of news today. So we've just had the sounds like I'm doing the afternoon register, yeah. Here, miss. Ready to make some money. Non-farm employment change came out as negative. Quite a big miss. 261 previous, 208 forecast, 145 returned. So quite a big miss on that, but not the end of the world. That's not the important one. It's the unemployment rate, which is the key, which is Friday. That's what's going to move it Friday. So we'll see what happens there. Well, I won't be here, but because it's a bank holiday. Afternoon, Fletch. So we'll see what happens with that one. What was I looking at? Why was I looking at US dollar CAD? Yeah, so the movement on the US dollar off the back of that news was not dramatic. We didn't get much of a spike or anything off of it, really. So if you look at all the US dollar pairs, we've had a little bit of a drop, but nothing dramatic. So I wouldn't worry too much about it at the moment. We will see what happens this afternoon with the PMIs. So this is the big one this afternoon, the PMIs. That's what's going to move the market the most this afternoon, PMI figures. So we'll see how that goes. Apart from that, not a massive amount of movement today so far. Nothing more banked this afternoon, just flip-flopping around basically. The ADRs, so we'll whiz through the ADRs before the market opens. We've got 5 minutes. So all the Aussie dollars, obviously, Aussie dollar CAD, pushed down, 125 ADR. That's started to push up, it's pulling back a little bit now. Aussie dollar Swiss, nice little bounce, started at 125 as well. Lots of upside targets on all of these. Aussie dollar yen, that one hasn't. We've had a bit of a strong yen. If you look at the 5 minute on that, there was a reversal alert here, but then we came and put a new low in and invalidated that. So the next reversal alert is going to be pretty much in the same spot. So if you missed the first one, the second one's pretty much the same trade on the Aussie yen. Aussie New Zealand pushed down. That's pushed up quite nicely. So I took a second position on that down here because I had one on from there yesterday. That was on the RSI extension. So that's pushed up fairly nicely. Stalling a little bit at the moment. Aussie dollar, US dollar, again, pushed off. ADR. So your reversal alert was beautiful down here. There's your reversal alert entry in profit. Looking for a target up higher. Euro odd, it's loads of these. Loads of ADRs today. Euro odds come off the high. That's coming down nicely as well. Euro New Zealand. Again, that was an ADR low, wasn't it? You didn't get a reversal alert on that one because of the New Zealand news. Pound odd. Nice drop off the highs. Bit of Australian dollar strength coming through, which is nice to see. So that's pushing down back into here, or potentially back all the way down to there at some point. We got pound New Zealand. Again, that was a tricky one to get into because of the gap. New Zealand dollar CAD. So all the New Zealand dollar pairs obviously were pretty difficult to get into because of the gaps on them. So probably wouldn't have done much on those. But the rest of them all played out very nicely. Lots of weekly hits. It's Wednesday, so there's lots of things to look at for the weeklies. Reversals on those. Aussie dollar, New Zealand, and pound odd being the main ones. That's starting to come down nicely. And Aussie New Zealand. Nice push up from that one. So ADR, or sorry, your weekly range on that is 200 so far. off of a normal weekly of 185. So, sorry, 148. So we're 125 extended on the weekly. So all good. Afternoon, Parmo. Afternoon, Alex. All internet sorted. Yeah, at the moment. Fingers crossed. You never know. It could all go wrong again. We will see. DAX from this morning. The opening range breakout on the DAX was a little bit of a rocky start this morning, but when it actually broke out the downside, it's gone quite nicely. Went into a bit of an accumulation, and then we're pushing down again, so we've made new lows. Fairly efficient on the way down. Got that target up there to the upside, potentially to aim for, but we've also got these gaps to the downside. So I still like this as a short, because we got these nice gaps. We've got one there and we've got one there. So that's pretty much within reach today. That's 125 ADR. We could do that. We got US dollar news. So if the PMI figures come out positive, indices will drop. So we could do a 125 today. I doubt whether we'll do a 225. You never know. Might do. We'll see what happens. But we'll concentrate on the Dow this afternoon. So market is just about to open. We've just pushed up. So your pre-market 15 range is there. Bit jittery at the open. All we've done today really is kind of that. Nothing much. So no movement. It's Globex session. It doesn't tend to do an awful lot. So all we've done today since the open is have a little push down and sort of hover around. So not gone anywhere. That's what we're looking for today. Another big down leg. But we've got this big target on the Dow upside. So we'll see where this one goes at the open. Let's watch the NASDAQ as well. We'll have a look at the RSIs. There's loads of RSIs as well. So the NASDAQ started dropping quite hard for the last 15 minutes before the open. So we'll see where that goes. Right, so that's yesterday's low gone already. That was quick. We've got a lot of support here. So we've got yesterday's low and previous day's low in this zone here. So if we break that, we've got this propulsion gap target to the downside to aim for. My mouse is awful at the moment. You know when your mouse button starts to go and you click on it and it just suddenly stops drawing? Well, not obviously if you're drawing, but it just stops working. Just keeps stopping working for some reason. So NASDAQ's rejecting the lows. Dow's trying to break out the highs. Bit of divergence again. So we'll see where we go. Afternoon, Salty. Afternoon, Freeman. Did catch your eyes on London in the middle of the night. Big day yesterday. Everyone kill it. Everyone short Bud or J&J. Bricks hit your radar yet, boss? Salty, I have no idea what any of that means. Sorry. Did catch your eyes on London in middle of the night. Big day yesterday. Everyone kill it. Everyone short Bud or J&J. Bricks hit your radar yet? Got me? No idea what you're talking about. Sorry. Afternoon, Freeman. I already said hello to Freeman. Afternoon, Brian. Konnichiwa. Okay. NASDAQ's retesting the lows. Talking in code. Yeah, definitely talking in code today. Dow's out the highs. Total divergence across the two, look. So you've pre-market 15 on the Dow. Your target will be 36. Target would be 54. So you need to get out higher day. Oh, God, mouse, stop it. It's doing my head in. 54. So 334.77 is target. There you go, 334.77. Pretty much exactly there. 54 pips basically out the high, which is roughly there. So that's 1.5 hour on the breakout pre-market. Afternoon, Sagar. Afternoon, James. 63 people. Let's get some thumbs up, guys. Try and get some more bods in here. We're just testing the highs now. High of the Globex session on the Dow. We should get a little pop out the top on that. That should get you to target if you're on the pre-market. There we go. Pretty much, near enough. For the sake of a couple of pips, I would probably take it manually. Which I have just done. I'm not going to argue with it. We're up at the highs. We might reject this. Nasdaq's still pushing out the lows. So we're struggling up here. So this is your 5-minute opening range going in. You've got 50 seconds left on this candle. But that'll be your 5-minute opening range. So we could well just fly straight out the bottom of this. Looks like we're going low on the Nasdaq. S&P's middle ground. Nothing particularly convincing at the open. Afternoon PM. Afternoon PM. Is that a joke? Sorry, I'm in a silly mood this afternoon. Want to watch where the NAS goes. Yeah, so the NAS is pushing out the lows. So we're running into previous day's low, which is there. We're straight at the previous day's low. So if that low breaks, we've got a clear run down to 129.58. Might get stuck there. More likely down to there, I would say. Somewhere around there anyway. So it's running out the lows now. So let's see if we get a run out the lows on the Nasdaq. If we do, I suspect the Dow will be coming down. So there's your 5-minute opening range on the Dow. So we're looking for a break of that. Nasdaq's definitely a short. So that's a good spot to start shorting the Dow. Which I'm already short on. Pound CAD. Do I want to bank pound CAD? Nope, I'll leave that running. Euro CAD. Okay, so just be aware, obviously, we've got the news at 3 o'clock. So the market could well, at the open, go into a little bit of a choppy range until that PMI figure comes out. Very different moves across the board at the minute. So, but just be prepared. You might get a choppy half an hour. We had that before, didn't we? Waiting for news. So. Play Sorty Games. Johnson & Johnson lost 8.5 billion lawsuit, did they? I don't really pay attention to the stock market. ADP a bit lower than expected. May relieve a bit of pressure on the indices. I don't really I don't care what's going on in the indices. I trade momentum on the indices, so it doesn't matter what's driving them. I drive with momentum. It doesn't matter which stocks are doing what, as far as I'm concerned. If it's going out the top like it is on the Dow at the moment, it's a long. If it's going short out the bottom on the Nasdaq, it's a short. Follow the money. Right, so Dow upside targets. So we've got this propulsion gap from the break. So there's your reversal alert yesterday. There's your propulsion gap, which we're testing now. So this could be where we find the sellers starting to kick in on this move. So this is the first down leg we've had for 6 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days on the Dow. So if the sellers took control back yesterday and we're looking for a couple of downward legs, this is where I would expect the sellers to start to kick in. We're going to push down into this area and down into this area and down into this area, potentially down into that gap fill, but it depends if they've got enough legs to get down there. But if we are going to do a second leg today, which it looks like we are at the moment, that's what we'll be looking for. So push down into there and push down potentially to ADR today. If we get strong PMI figures as well at 3 o'clock from the US dollar, that will help drive the indices down further as well. So we'll see how we go. NASDAQ certainly is dropping. NASDAQ targets, obviously, there's not actually a lot really there. That's the only real gap until you come all the way back down to there, which after 4-day run might be a bit of a big ask, but we'll see what the PMI figures do. It may all help. Seymour, that lovely metal brick I like so much is just my ATM today. Gold, good man. I turned Bloomberg, CNBC, etc. off years ago. Yeah, just don't listen to it. Follow the market. Afternoon, Themba. If the market is going down, go down. If the market is going up, go up. The market is now rejecting, go down. Fancy adding another short onto my Dow. That's a bit aggressive, but hey, what the hell? It's only a prop account. Let's see if we can really milk it. Gold is the thing that's really hurting at the moment because I'm trading it, obviously. So I've got a few positions scattered on this, looking for this basically gap fill here. So positive PMI figures equals massive drop on gold. Everybody pray to the gods of trading. If you believe in the gods of trading, we want positive PMI figures. Afternoon, GT Prab. Give an overview on pound US dollar. We will look at all the RSIs in a minute. Ooh, all green, look. Buy everything. Just buy everything, basically. Pound US dollar, I'm short. Looking for propulsion gap fill. We've also got these two propulsion gaps to the downside. PMI figures come out positive, that's coming down. PMI figures come out negative, that's going up. So don't know. Wait and see what the US dollar does. At the moment, though, it's an RSI short. So I'm in from there on the RSI extension on the hourly and looking to get out on these gap fills at some point. Hopefully, we'll just get the gap fills done fairly quick. Possibly even return to origin. I doubt we'll get that today, but we could get a 150 today, but we'll get 100 ADR. I only need basically there to get out. So I'll be out down there. I'm looking for 50 pips, which is there. So if we get a spike down, I'll be exiting today on that anyway. So pound US dollar. So short. We just not really going anywhere at the moment. We're just waiting. We're sitting in limbo. 4 hour. That's extended, or it's just come out of extension actually on the 4 hour. So it's a 4 hour mean reversion as well. Back down into there. Dow's pushing up again. Okay, NASDAQ struggling at that low. So potentially we've got this area here as well. So this zone basically potentially for a bounce before we pull back down into, well, no, it's not really a propulsion gap, is it? More of a mess. See where we go. Dow's pushing out the highs on the 5 minute again, trying to anyway. Positive figures for PMI means dollar will go up. Yeah. Well, normally, yeah. It really depends. It's a services PMI, so the services are more important than manufacturing for the US, for the pound as well. There's lots of countries where services are more important, and US is one of those. So it tends to be more impacted than the manufacturing PMIs. But if we get positive figures, it means that the growth is happening, which is generally tends to be good for investment. Interest rates going up along with PMIs going up tends to be quite a powerful combination. But that doesn't mean necessarily that the US dollar will go up. The main driving factor at the moment with everything is interest rates and inflation. So it's really a case of the market will go where the market wants to go, and it will go with the force it wants to go. If it's not really interested in PMIs and it's waiting for unemployment on Friday, it probably won't go anywhere. But overall, if you get a green number, it's obviously good for the currency. So we'll wait and see. But I'd imagine we'll probably just flip-flop around until we get those figures out. Right, let's look at the RSIs. So these are pretty similar to this morning. So I've got like a tinnitus in my left ear. Nasdaq's coming out the lows again. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. So that's a 4-hour RSI extension. So the downside. Took a second long on that this morning. Nice tweezer bottoms at 175 ADR. The S&P services PMIs were down. Slightly down on the forecast. So whether or not that's going to be a leading read on the ISM figures, we'll find out in a minute. So yeah, 4-hour extension, RSI, looking for a profit take move. So we got a really nice support on this one. Yeah, so push down, looking for a pullback up into there. That'll be the exit on a potential bounce here. That's in the propulsion gap as well. We have also got this propulsion gap to the upside. So one or two things on this. We're either going to put in a second leg down, or we're going to push back up and then put in another leg down by putting in a lower high. So one of those two. On that one, Aussie New Zealand. Overall, though, it is a short, much more of a short than a long. US dollar Swiss. Very nicely extended on the 4-hour down there. Could go a little bit further. So we've just broken out the lows on this. So this area here was our previous support that we were looking to hold, which it hasn't at the moment. So a bit of a strength in the US, in the Swiss franc, and a bit of weakness in the US dollar, obviously. So looking for a push back up into propulsion, and then potentially another leg down. But that will assume that the US dollar is going to continue to weaken. Next support on this is there, yeah. So this black line that I've got drawn in here, somewhere around there, 90, basically, big round number, is your next level, which is somewhere around here, for a potential bounce. But nicely extended RSI, so looking for push up, profit take move on that one. We haven't really had much of a profit take on this. We just basically pushed down, accumulated, pushed down. So we're looking for that profit take move, just so that they can get out of the short positions. And then obviously if they want to jump back in, that's fine. I don't care what they do after I'm out. They can do what they like. So those are your only two 4 hours. On the hourlies, I'll just quickly check up. Woo, we're off. Blimey. Dow's flying. Nasdaq's dropping. Totally different moves on the Nas. Oh well. I think this might be the end of this account, you know. Oh no, actually no. I've only got 0.6 drawdown on it. It's gold that I need. Gold needs to sort itself out, which it is very nicely. Thank you very much, gold. Strong US dollar coming through at the moment. Interesting that the Dow's pushing quite so hard. Yeah, so who is it just said Johnson & Johnson just got hit by an 8.5 billion lawsuit? Well, they certainly don't seem to care, do they? Stock's up 3.26%. Maybe they should get hit by multi-billion lawsuits more often. That doesn't make sense, does it? You get hit by a massive lawsuit and your stock price goes through the roof. All the healthcare is going up, basically. Everything healthcare, isn't it? Everything healthcare is going through the roof. Weird. Looking at the Nasdaq, looking at the S&P, I would say that is not going to last, that Dow push. Market's heavy. We'll see what happens with the PMIs, though. We've got 10 minutes to the PMIs. That's really going to decide the direction. We'll see what happens. Pray to the gods of Forex, yes. Good day, Euro US dollar, afternoon, pot gaiter. Euro US dollar, we are not going to have a look at. I'll look at that quickly now before we look at the hourlies. So that's in the middle of nowhere at the minute. Don't know. So we looked at this one yesterday, didn't we? So this is the propulsion gap retest there. So again, it's all going to depend on the PMI figures. If the PMI comes out positive, it's coming down. If it comes out negative, we're coming up to retest ADR today. So it's either going to test ADR and drop, or it's just going to drop back down into propulsion, which is 150 ADR to the downside. But at the moment, it's not extended on any time frame. It's just coming out of a 4-hour extension. That's probably why we looked at it yesterday, wasn't it? Because it was extended on the 4-hour. We've got very nice divergence if you look at this. So we've got that divergence there, which is flat. And then we've got negative divergence, bearish divergence on the 4-hour. So it's bearish down into there. Obviously, we are in an uptrend at the moment because of the weakness in the US dollar. So we'll see what happens with the PMIs. PMIs are going to be quite critical for me this afternoon. If we get negative PMIs and they actually bother to pump the US dollar, drop the US dollar, I'm going to be in a bit of trouble this afternoon. On the funded account, that is. Because I've got to use those stop loss things. Right, Aussie dollar Swiss. JJ, it's been going on a long time. They have just agreed the settlement. Oh, is it? All right. Yeah, so maybe Johnson & Johnson's stocks have been dropping while that lawsuit's been going on. Now the lawsuit's been settled. They know exactly what the cost to the company is going to be. So the stock price is going up. Maybe that's what's happening with that. Would make sense, wouldn't it? Do you know if you put your finger on the screen on top of the candle, it will go down? Well, you can draw stuff on it. If we draw a little weight, trouble is I need it to be on the screen, don't we? We draw a weight on there. Yeah, so that's 10 tons. That should be enough, I think, to hold it down. Give it a go. It does work. The same as when you draw a rocket underneath price, it flies. Always works, always works. Morning, Hamza. Tapping traders high on Dow, maybe. Ooh, blimey. That's really off. I'll take it. I'm long. I'm tempted to shut that long. It's a 1R basically at the moment. I've just taken the pre-market 15 profit off. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just moving the stop to break even on that opening range break, just because we've got news coming up. If that dollar really rallies off PMI, this will come down pretty quick. If it doesn't, obviously it could fly, and if it flies, it's fine. But what I don't want to do is take a loss on it after taking the profit on the pre-market. So, okay. Afternoon, Luke. How does ADP non-farm employment change affect the markets? Well, the ADP non-farm employment change doesn't affect the markets. It's unemployment. So when you look at this news, yeah, everyone calls this non-farm payroll. Yeah, non-farm payroll is not an indicator that the markets pay attention to. Unemployment is what the markets pay attention to. Yeah. So when you look at this news event, if you go back, this unemployment rate is released at the same time as average earnings and non-farm every month, right? It's not the non-farm payroll figure. Everyone calls it non-farm payroll. It's not. It's unemployment. That's what affects the market. Unemployment is a leading indicator, yeah, as to direction for price. So the markets pay a lot of attention to unemployment because unemployment is a side effect of interest rates, and unemployment is a leading indicator for interest rates and inflation. So on Friday, the market will move, but it will move on unemployment, not on non-farm payroll data. We just call it. I don't know what the history is. Why everybody refers to it? You know, it's like everything else you see. Like tomorrow, with the Canadian dollar, we're not going to go, oh look, it's the unemployment change. We're going to call it the unemployment, well, unemployment rate. It's the bit that we're focused on. We don't call it unemployment change or unemployment claims or anything, do we? But that's US dollar. But it's always the same thing. I don't know the history behind it, but we just do. Your eyes don't look like they are on speed this afternoon. No, I've turned that off. That was awful. I rewatched the replay. It's like I was doing that all the time, and like I was looking over there. It's weird because there's some points in the stream, yeah, where I'm looking at the charts, and I look over there, and all of a sudden it's like my eyes are like keeping an eye on you. You know, like if you're sitting in a restaurant and you see people, and you just keep going like that, and you glance over there. That's what my eyes are doing with that thing. It was just weird. So it's almost, I don't know, it's just not right. I can understand it if you talk to the camera a lot and you have a habit of moving around, then yeah, it makes sense. But I don't talk to the camera a lot, do I? I'm concentrating on what's going on the charts, so it's a little bit different. People just like saying acronyms, especially three-letter ones. Yeah. NFP. I think that's probably what it is. It's easier to say it's NFP on Friday than it's the unemployment rate. I don't know. Right, we've got 3 minutes till the news. I'll go and do the RSIs after the news. We'll look through all the RSIs after the news, but we might as well watch this first because I want to see what's going on. I'm going to watch gold because that is a good indicator of what's going to happen to the US dollar. AJ at ADR low. Yep. You just had your 5-minute reversal out on Aussie yen. You had one earlier. There. You just had one there off of ADR earlier. So the second one's just triggered there. Back up to there. Let's see where this goes. Gold buy. Depends what happens with the figures, doesn't it? You mentioned stop loss. Are you referring to Fidelcrest? Yeah. I'm only using a stop loss basically to keep me in the evaluation longer, which is why my P&L looks like a total mess. I don't have to use a stop loss on Fidelcrest, but I choose to because it will just blow otherwise. If I get, especially with something like gold. But likewise, if we get a solid push off of the US dollar now and a 125, then I'm going to pass, aren't I? So I'm quite tempted to take the pound CAD off because the CAD is probably going to move along with the US because I've got Euro CAD on as well. So I'm going to take the pound CAD off and get that banked because I've got Euro CAD running, which is pretty much the same trade. So if the Canadian dollar pumps, I should have left the pound CAD on. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to protect that one. Okay, 1 minute. So we're looking for a forecast of 54.3.
51 spot 2, 51 spot 2. That is
51 spot 2. Negative. Okay, so big spike on gold. Dow's coming down. Interesting. So let's see if they do drop the US. Dixie dumping, yeah. We'll see if it continues. This might just be a spike. Depends. They may not pay any attention to the PMIs today. It really depends on what they want to do, how they're positioned ahead of unemployment figures. So that is a negative, though. So you would expect it to be weak US. It's a big miss as well. So just taking the Asian low out on the US dollar CAD. Nasdaq's just retested the lows of previous day's low and yesterday's low, straight up into that propulsion gap. So it doesn't look particularly strong either way at the minute. Just a whipsaw. Euro US dollar is pumping. Yeah, everything will be pushing against the US. And probably the CAD as well. If you look at the, there you go. So Euro CAD. So the Canadian dollar will be affected as well. So the Canadian dollar will do the same as the US basically. Oh, that's about to pop, isn't it? Bye-bye. I can't remember what my max drawdown is today on that account. 6. Oh no, sorry, wrong account. Got that one. It's the other one. So daily loss threshold today is 45,880. What am I on? 47. Really? That can't be right. 45 max loss threshold, 45,906. Last equity, 47,032. Oh, it's a wrong account. And it's not. That's right. 45,880. I've got loads of room. Anyway, doesn't look like it's doing much anyway, does it? So US dollar's pushing off the PMIs. So Dow is coming down. Stopped out break even on the Dow, I think. Yeah. So break even, stop out on the Dow. So yeah, coming down nicely. So big strong push on the US dollar, potentially starting. Gold will come down. Let's see if this follows through. So this is either going to be a continuation push and they're going to rally the US, or we're going to tank it the other way. So we'll see what happens. Next 5-minute candle will tell, I would imagine. NAS by US 30 sells. They're both dumping at the moment. We'll see. Dixie looking like a sweep on the lows. Could see a potential turnaround. Yeah, that's what I mean. The PMI figures. Yeah, so Euro US dollars just tapped straight into that high. If you factor in the spread, they probably just spread out the stops there and took that lot. But you know, the PMI figures, while they are important, it is not as important as positioning yourself for these two. This is the key. Yeah. So it's more important for the market positions itself right for these than it, you know, because it's not going to pay anywhere near as much attention to the manufacturing PMIs and the services PMIs when you've got unemployment coming out. So we've had such a weak US. I wouldn't be surprised to see some strength coming through, but we'll see. We need to break some lows. We need to, you know, get some traction going off the back of this news. So we'll see. There's your gap on the Euro US dollar for the short. If you are short on it, I'm not. That Euro CAD will be coming down again probably as well. Oil is coming down as well. So that oil short that I took is coming down very nicely. So gap fill on the oil, that low there and yesterday's low. So if we can get down to ADR today, that's that low. So that's the key point where we're going to see some limit orders triggering. If we break that low, we're coming down to the gap fill. So if we do break that low, in fact, I might actually. The only reason I've got that order there is because I thought if we get a 150 ADR off the US dollar today, I'll get out of half of it on the way down there, which is $700, which basically just gets me all back to break even, basically, on the account. So, but we need to see if we can get some follow through on this. Might be end of day, not when the market hits. Yeah, it could be any time today. You probably have 2,500 daily drawdown. Yeah, so basically the way it works, Hamza, is your drawdown is calculated from your open equity. So wherever your equity starts on the day, you get 2,500 off of your equity figure, which is what was confusing me, because I could have sworn my equity this morning was 49,000, but maybe I was wrong. The trouble is I'm running two accounts. Because I'm running two evaluations, I'm actually a little bit lost as to which is which. I might have been looking at the wrong account. Can't remember, but it's one or the other. Anyway, whatever. It is what it is. Might be end of day. Not when the market hits it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, I don't quite know how it works with Fiddlecrest. AJ looking good to place buy positions. Yeah. ADR reversal. I'm in one long already on that at the moment. 119. I need it a little bit deeper to get into a second position on it, but yeah, looking good for longs, definitely. And I should have waited on the euro US dollar. So target on that is basically anywhere 150 ADR onwards down there. That one there is kind of mostly filled. So ADR today is definitely on the cards if we get this continuation strength on the US, which we really need. It's like rain. We haven't had it for a while. We need it. It's certainly coming through at the moment. So we should get some decent movement. The Dow's holding it up at the minute, though. Anyway, right, let's get these RSIs done. Otherwise, we're never going to do them. Aussie dollar Swiss. Hourly RSI extension to the downside. Got below the 80-20 level, below the 20 level. So looking for push back up. 3 propulsion targets to the upside. Don't know how long this push is going to go on the Australian dollar, but I'm in on it, looking for an exit up in the propulsion. So 34 is half an ADR. So I kind of need it back up into yesterday's low, somewhere around there. I'll be exiting up there. At the moment, Aussie dollar yen, we just looked at that one. So that's nicely extended. I've got one on already. We're extended below the 20 now. So really nice extension on the hourly. All we got was a flag break. Yeah, so potentially we might get another flag break down. There's no targets to the downside really to come and test now. We've got that little thing there, but that's your main target now to the upside. So it's whether or not we're going to get up there today. I mean, today's not on the cards, is it? It's 150 ADR, but over the next few days. So I'd much rather this push down a little bit further and got down to a support level in here. Yeah. So if we got 150 ADR, that would be absolutely perfect. I'll take a second position down there and wait for a push back up again. But there's no targets really to the upside. There is a little bit of a propulsion gap there, although that candle's not as big as that one. In fact, what I might do is switch the WRB back to 1, look back. And that means I'm going to get every WRB drawn in then, doesn't it? There we go. That's a bit clearer. So we got that one there to aim for, and we got that one there potentially to aim for as well. So there is more targets to the upside on that. Euro Swiss extended to the downside. We're below the 20 level now on this one. This is pushed down very hard. Got a gap down on the news, look. Blimey. So you're not going to get a reversal alert until you break 99.040 on that one. Which is pretty much where the hourly is, near enough. So you're not going to get a reversal alert until somewhere up here. There's no real targets to the upside apart from that tiny little bit there. So with this one, there's way more downside momentum, although that's kind of a V-shaped recovery rather than an accumulation break. However, it is a big old candle that we haven't come and retested yet. So Difficult on the Euro Swiss. Euro Swiss, obviously, they are both in the same zone. A lot of the Euro money goes through the Swiss banking system, which is why you've got a low ADR on this one, and it doesn't tend to move an awful lot. So it is very, very nicely extended, though. So definitely going to pull up at some point. We are just coming back to a nice area of support here. So if we got down to there, that would be a much nicer reversal, an ADR hit and huge extension. You know, we're looking for a ping back off of this. Yeah. So just waiting, basically. Not very clean reversal on that at all. Mainly because of that big move we just had. So pound Swiss is the other RSI extension on the hourly. So again, similar sort of gap down on that one, straight into that support. So pushing back up into that propulsion gap up there. Going to need the Swiss franc to be a little bit weak to get us back up there. We seem to have money flying in at the moment to the Swiss franc and the yen off the back of that. So there's quite a bit of safe haven money seems to be coming in at the moment. Not quite sure why. Possibly flowing out of the US dollar. Just getting a whipsaw on that US dollar, look. It is pulling back again now. So we'll see. That reversal. See if we can get a continuation on it. But, so Swiss yen, again, RSI extension to the downside on the hourly. So we'll be looking for profit take move. Yeah, that really is a target, but any kind of profit take move on that off that double bottom will be fine. So that is good for initial entries. Not massively extended though. US dollar Swiss, that is extended. I'm in that already. Your 5-minute reversal alert, I don't think you're going to get one yet until you get the break of that high, because obviously this is just a wick based on the news. So there's your reversal alert, which is pretty much where I got in yesterday. So that is still valid for an entry. Nicely extended. We're embedded below the 20 level now. So I got in, oh sorry, it was this morning I got in on that one. We got extended and embedded. So yeah, like it pushing back up into that propulsion gap there. And US dollar yen, that's now nicely extended, huge propulsion gap there. But we need this US dollar strength. If we don't get the US dollar strength, I can see this US dollar starting to weaken. And obviously it's very weak at the moment. We've got all these big propulsion targets up here, look. Loads of it. But we've had such a strong yen and such a weak US dollar. This has really struggled. So tricky one at the minute. Am I going to bank anything else today? Or are we just going to sit here and just flip-flop permanently all day without banking anything? I hate days like this. Just kind of want to hit the close button on half of this and just say, just get out. Especially when we've had news like this, because I don't know which way this is going to go. Real whipsaw there. Look. So that basically, if you look at the 5-minute chart on the euro US dollar, we've just grabbed all that liquidity. We've just grabbed all that liquidity. And potentially, depending on the spread, that as well. So they've basically just cleared the decks, ready now to drive whichever way they want to. So we'll see. If we get continuation push to the downside, I think today we will get a nice drop out the lows and strength on that US dollar, which is due probably into unemployment figures. Unemployment last time on the US went down, went up. So there's a potential that we might get negative unemployment, i.e. higher than expected unemployment figures. So that again would be negative US, and again would drive them up to an extra 0.25% to take us to that 5.25 terminal rate on the US in May. So very important figure coming up on Friday. So we're just positioning ourselves ahead of that at the minute. Oil's coming down very nicely. We're Wednesday, aren't we? Ooh, we've got oil inventories. It is Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, we've got crude inventories in 12 minutes. Thanks for the follow, whoever that was. Bolor, welcome aboard. Bolor Eldine Bold. You sound like a font. Sorry, I'm not being nasty, but you do sound like a font. Yeah, so we got crude inventories in 10 minutes. So if you are in gold, oil even, be aware we've got the crudes coming out. Dare I take another one? I'm just going to add a pending order underneath yesterday's low. If we rally down and I can get into a second position, there's a good chance of taking a decent amount of money off at ADR on that position. So that one, which is 241 in profit up here, I might take that one off at ADR and replace it with another position there and then put those two down there. But we'll see. This might fly back the other way. Right, so that's all your RSIs covered. So there's lots of opportunities on RSIs. Obviously, the ADRs are very busy today based on this Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar movement that we've had. Everything's kind of moving all over the place at the moment. So lots of mean reversion opportunities to get into. Dow has stalled back at the 5-minute opening range high. Nasdaq's dropped out the lows. So this does look like US dollar strength today. Fingers crossed. Wait for the crude inventories. Then we'll probably go. Lee, have you got OnlyFans account? No. Isn't that for porn? OnlyFans. I don't know. I don't have anything to do with OnlyFans. I think Fidelcrest is highest closed balance to current equity. I'm not actually sure, Kenny, what it is on Fidelcrest. I'll have to read into it. AJ pushing down further yet. AJ approaching average weekly range, 28 pips away. Yep. So we get a weekly range hit on that in a minute if it carries on. Q2 possible rebalancing as chances of recession. Can't see anything to do with that. Too soon to say whether the Fed will raise in May. We know that. Rates are expected to go a little higher than hold. So yeah. So Mester's a big fan of going to 0.25 basically on the rates. So I think this is all perfectly timed. Look, rallying into the news for PMI. So no, we're getting the negative PMI figures coming out. So he's rallying the market ahead of the PMIs. Back in neutral territory on the fear and greed as well. Okay, oil inventories are coming out. I'm just going to turn the squawk box on just so I can hear the crude inventories. Not that it makes any difference what the crude inventories are. It goes wherever the hell it likes. John, Swiss and yen could be safe haven. Heard a rumor there was a decent run on Toronto Dominion Bank in the last 4 hours. Yeah, if that is the case, then they will buy the yen and the Swissy. So, but just because there's a run on a bank doesn't mean there's a problem with the bank. This is the problem with runs on banks. That's what causes the problems. Yeah, everyone goes, "Oh, I need to get my money out." Everybody does it at the same time, and the bank goes, "Hang on a minute, we're liquid." And that's what causes the banks to have problems when they get run. So, but they will get propped up. The Fed have, everybody said they're going to prop up their banks. So it's nothing really dramatic. I don't think is going to happen. Dow's starting to push up again. So let's just keep an eye on oil. We've got 6 minutes to oil news. Hopefully dollar will stay below the New York equities open price. 5% down today. You're 5% down, John. That's not good.
According to a letter, German Finance Minister Christian Lindner calls on the EU not to change institutional protection schemes that help banks in trouble.
Blah, blah, blah. Harsal.
Sponsored by TickStrike. TickStrike allows you to actually hear order flow futures, Forex, and stock instruments.
Let me just turn it off for a minute. Otherwise, it's just going to keep advertising at me. So we're running into this propulsion gap on the Dow. Downside targets are there. Let's say if you're trading H1M5 and have open positions on 10 different pairs, is your risk the same 0.25 on initial trade on all pairs, or do you reduce to 0.1? So yeah, if you had 10 open positions on one instrument, I would advise you to reduce your risk. Yeah. It's entirely up to you. Obviously, the whole purpose of exposure is to keep your risk under control. So at the moment, I don't care what happens with the CAD or this account, just doesn't matter. CAD goes up, down, doesn't matter. We make money. However, if the Australian dollar collapses, there's way more exposure on the Australian dollar than there should be. So you need to adjust your account. Your lot size is based on your risk tolerance. Either there's a signal running on the MQL5 marketplace with H1M5, and that is just running on a set number of pairs. So it does get overexposed on the US dollar because it's trading the majors. But if you want to reduce your risk and your exposure, then just stick it on a few pairs. Don't stick it on every single pair. Stick it on a few pairs and make sure it's spread. So, use Aussie CAD, Aussie Swiss. There you go. There's your Australian exposure. Done. But the problem with that is if it goes long and long, you could still expose yourself short twice if you wanted to on the Aussie. There's no real right or wrong. In the bootcamp, I teach in the bootcamp to keep your exposure to the same direction and only 2 exposures on an individual currency. That is the best way to do it. That is the safest way to do it. So just starting to sell out of that propulsion gap. Look, so that could be peak formation. But the market's fairly at the moment, because obviously interest rates are going through the roof, inflation is going through the roof, unemployment is unstable, GDPs are flat. It means that the market is contracted. So if you look at the RSI the ADR dashboard, these numbers are all very low. Pound New Zealand is sitting at 138. Normally, Pound New Zealand, you'd be sitting at somewhere around about the 250 to 350 mark. So the market is very contracted currently because it's all about interest rates and all about stopping recession. So there's nowhere near as much movement in the FX markets because there's no dominant currency at the moment. There is no dominant currency anywhere. All that's happening is you get a dominant currency in the yen or the Swiss franc when we get a safe haven rush. Other than that, everything is range bound. If you look at the buyer scorecard, the vast majority of currency pairs at the moment are range bound. There's no advantage or disadvantage really in any direction on anything. So you can afford to be a little bit more exposed at the minute. However, the first time you find out you are overexposed and the market's getting volatile is when you get into a squeeze on multiple pairs at the same time, and that's when you get hurt. So better to keep your exposure as tight as you can. Mumo, how's the ORB doing on the Dow since you abandoned the NAS? I've only had 2 days so far. Okay, yeah. So yesterday was a very nice drop. So there's the open yesterday. So we had a huge collapse yesterday. And so far this morning, we've had pre-market and the 5 minute is stopped out of break even. The pre-market was would have been a TP if you'd left it. I didn't. I closed it out a little bit early. But yeah, no. The Dow is just, it's so much more stable. If you look at the previous day on the Dow, yeah, so there's your Dow open. Yeah, it's just, the Dow is just nicer, I think. But the testing on the Dow that I've done was, to be fair, it's quite limited because most of my testing was focused on the NASDAQ because the NASDAQ showed itself to be the most profitable instrument on all the initial testing. So the way that I did the testing on the opening range breakout was crude oil inventories negative 3 million on a forecast of -1. So yeah, that is positive oil. I'm just going to see what this does. I just closed something out. Oh yeah, okay, didn't I? I'm just going to protect one of these oil positions, scaling out of that one with a loss in case this rallies. I don't want to go into drawdown on oil and gold at the same time. So yeah, so the way I did the testing was, thanks for the follow, Giuseppe, welcome aboard. So with the opening range breakout, I tested the DAX, the Dow, the NASDAQ, and a little bit of S&P, but not a lot. Basically, I scrapped the S&P because the S&P was pretty much the same as the NASDAQ from a movement perspective, but the ADR is lower, so it wasn't really worth. There's no point in trading both of them. They tend to move the same. So I tested those 3 pairs, the DAX, the Dow, and the NASDAQ. The initial testing that I did across the board, the clear winners were the DAX and the NASDAQ. Those two were way above the Dow from a profit perspective. So I stopped testing the Dow and I concentrated on the NASDAQ and the DAX, which is why you'll find there's only one Dow set file for the ORB, and there's lots of set files for the DAX and the NASDAQ. But having watched this trade for a couple of months, you can easily see that the Dow is the more stable of the two out of that and the NASDAQ. So while the NASDAQ is wildly profitable when it runs, I think the Dow will be probably easier to squeeze money out of with a more stable profit curve. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I need to go back really and do a lot more in-depth testing on the Dow with the different set files, which wasn't done. So
Thanks for the follow.
Thanks for the follow, Pratik. Welcome aboard, Pratik. We're not very good with Indian names. Not very good with names in general. But yeah, you can see, look, there's loads of DAX testing. Did loads of, oops, wrong one. Loads of NASDAQ testing. Are you not open? So loads of NASDAQ again. Here's my Dow testing. And that basically was it. Then went on to more DAX. So the Dow testing just didn't get the same return on drawdown as the other instruments did. So I stopped testing that. So didn't do anywhere near as much. And I think that needs to be revisited because I think the Dow is the better instrument personally. But it's all about profitability in the long run. And the NASDAQ set files are profitable, as is the DAX and the Dow. It's just that from a driving you crazy point of view, the NASDAQ is not the one you want to trade. It's a crazy beast, and it's very, very hard to watch it. And obviously, I'm in here all day watching it, so it's not good for me from a mental perspective. Brian, the YouTube algo must like you. We had 4 midstream adverts today. Really? 4? Blimey. I don't know how it works. I haven't changed anything. I don't know how the advertising works. You can get rid of adverts if you join YouTube. You get rid of them completely. They're gone. Is there a reason you use EMA numbers on your ribbon? Yep, exponential moving averages tend to be better than simple, in my opinion. That's all. No real reason. I just like them better. So oil's rejecting. NASDAQ, the Dow is rejecting. We just put in a new low. So there's your high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So we need to break this propulsion gap. If we can get that propulsion gap broken, we've got a chance of running out the lows, but not really going anywhere at the minute. Just buying and selling, very volatile. If oil shoots, it might go to 87.91. Yeah, it will do. That's where I'm expecting it to go. I'm expecting it to go to $100 a barrel. Gold finally on the move, is it? Get in, gold. As much as I hate you. Oh, I've missed a profit take opportunity there, haven't I? Oh, I had a break-even exit on gold, look. What should I do? Should I hold it? They bought that propulsion gap pretty sharpish, didn't they? Let's see what happens in the next hour. We've got 25 minutes left on this candle. Let's see where this hourly goes. If this hourly candle closes, we're going to get the reversal alert. And then I think we'll probably come back down and test either that level. We've got 2 levels to look at in gold. Here. And here. Yeah, so that's within reach of today. Easily you could get an ADR on that today. That's 125 ADR, which would be a little more tricky to reach today, but we'll see. That would be my target, obviously. Look at the difference, yeah? I was sitting in, what, 5% of drawdown, wasn't I? Less than half an hour ago. Sitting in 1% drawdown now. EuroCAD looks like that's going to TP. So this US dollar's looking good at the minute. It's only one candle, but it is one candle in the right direction. We will see. Here comes my gold, yeah. Fingers crossed. Euro US dollar tanking, yeah. So that'll be on the US dollar strength. Obviously, this is US dollar cross. So US dollar pushes, euro comes down. Targets down here. Dow is holding up nicely as well. Gold dropping to 1989. 1990, somewhere around there. Yeah, that support. That would be my ideal. If we can just, just do that for the next 3 hours, I'd be very, very happy. And then I promise I won't trade gold again. I promise, Mr. Wick, I will not do it again. Can't see it, can you? There's Mr. Wick, 50-50. It's pushing up, look. It's pushing up. I'm not going to get out, am I? I should have got out. I'm going to regret that. I kind of want to bank it. We'll wait and see. I'll leave it running. Hopefully you get some of the ad revenue. Yeah, I do get ad revenue, yeah. I'm making a good $100 odd a month now, YouTube revenue. Thanks, guys. So yeah, it's not something I can retire on, put it that way. Reversal on US dollar Swiss on the 4-hour RSI. Yeah, so obviously US dollar pushing. Your entry would have been M15, or M15 is just about to reverse. M5, you've just had the reversal on M5. It's not very pretty, is it? But that's basically support. Yeah, so that's that support area that we just looked at a minute ago. So wherever it was, but yeah, we're reversing off of that support at the minute. So looking for a push back up into there, ideally, but we'll see. We could well have a good 2-day rally now on the US dollar running into unemployment on Friday. But obviously bear in mind on Friday, it's a bank holiday everywhere in the world. Literally everywhere in the world, apart from the US, is bank holiday, and Japan. So Aussie, New Zealand, Euro, UK, Canada, all bank holidays for Easter. So the liquidity is going to be very, very late this non-farm. Yeah, so the market is probably swinging into where it wants to be ahead of non-farm today and tomorrow. And then obviously what happens on Friday happens on Friday. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a rally on the US. It'd be nice. It's overdue. Tomorrow I'll stream with a thick gold chain. Yeah, that's what I need. I need one of those big, thick gold chains. Gold will come down to the 2,000 round number sooner or later. Yeah. So if you look at gold, we're playing around the big round number. So 2,000 is there. Yeah. So the red line, that's your big round number. That's your 2,000 level. That is ADR, and that is exactly where we bounced previously. Yeah. So there. Let's just about to see that. Yeah. That is your big round number. So that as a retest makes total sense. However, there's these propulsion gaps to the downside. And then when you look at where we actually are in the grand scheme of things, there's all this lot. So this rallied on the safe haven pushes, didn't it? If we are going into more of a neutral territory rather than in extreme fear or fear, it's more likely money will come out of gold. However, it will only come out of gold if we've got money flying into the US. So we need a combination of positive news on unemployment, i.e. unemployment figures coming down. That will ease pressure to increase interest rates to 5.25, which will make the US dollar more attractive. US dollar will rally and then gold will drop. But there's a lot of things that need to fall into line for that to actually happen. Today would be nice though, gold, if you don't mind. David, how can we believe that you hammered us so that you don't trade gold? I made a nice video about it. I did, that's true. I have a video called Why I Don't Trade Gold. But it's to do with position trading. It's not to do with trading on prop. Notice I am trading gold on prop because I don't care. It's not my money. I couldn't give a monkeys. I don't trade it on my accounts. Prop isn't real. Prop's just fun. Well, evaluations are fun. When I actually get, when it's a funded account, obviously, these are both evaluations. That's why I'm trading gold. If these were funded, I wouldn't be trading gold. Obviously. Well, I've got some banking to do. Hang on. Aussie, New Zealand. Euro, US dollar. Pound CAD. US dollar CAD. And my friend gold. So I can bank 1.17. That takes me up to 2.3. No, it doesn't. I can't do maths. It takes me up to 2. Now it's 1%. Target's 5. Let me just do some maths. We need 4%. I'm just going to move my Aussie New Zealand targets down into the propulsion gap so that that's below support. Yeah. So that's that support is going to act as resistance in that propulsion gap. So target below that. So that's easy to achieve. It won't be hitting today. That'll be hit tomorrow. Euro US dollar. Yeah, that's not going to get hit today. That's 150 ADR. Wow, that's $1,200. That's a bit keen. So that's 1.58. 1.6. So that's 2.6, 3.6. And gold. That'll be it. So if gold comes down, basically, and these others hover where they are or come down as well, that's it. That's that evaluation passed and over the line. So gold, everybody, we need gold down. Gold comes down, I pass. Gold goes up, I fail. There we go. That's the story of that account. Propulsion being tested on the Dow. If we can get that broken, so there's your market structure, as I just said earlier. High, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We need that low to break. If we can get out of that propulsion gap, we're coming down to test the low of the session. If we can get the low of the session broken, we're off, which means strengthen the US dollar. So lower the session, basically, then we've got yesterday's low and previous day's low are in the same area. Then we're down in that propulsion gap. So that would be my target today, which is within ADR. That's within ADR as well. But so 33,200, somewhere around there would be a good spot. Which is down there. So around about 230 points to the downside. That's well within ADR, look. That's where I would be looking at a target today. If we could get this continued US dollar strength, that is, obviously, we need that to happen. Gold chain, Mr. T chain, yeah. Pity the fool. Who said? I saw. Did somebody send me a John Wick? Someone sent me a Mr. T. Who's it sent me a Mr. T? Can't remember who it was. Someone, I asked people to put, oh no, it's this one. You'll like this. You'll like this. Oh, hang on. I asked people to send me John Wick AI generated art, because that's basically all this stuff you see is all generated by AI. Yeah. So these are all our John Wicks. For when we get wiki indices, John Wick, yeah, he's around all the time. Someone did one for me and sent it to me. This is John Wick fighting a bear. Look at his face. It's terrible. There's our John Wicks, our decent John Wicks. Yeah. I don't know which AI generated this one, but it is terrible. That is terrible. Look at the bear as well. It's just awful. It's like a teddy bear. Anyway, so yeah, if you got any more AI generated John Wicks, let me know. Send them over. Gap is getting bought up at the minute. Indecision, Doji. Yeah, but I'm sure someone sent me a Mr. T. I've got it in my brain. I've seen a Mr. T meme or Mr. T AI somewhere. I don't know. Gold chain needs a McLaren. Yeah, I definitely need a McLaren. I've entered a competition to buy, or not to win, to buy rather, to win my son's dream car. And it's being drawn on Friday. Yeah. So I've entered this. I shall be the proud owner of this car on Friday. R34, Midnight Purple, twin turbo. Basically, I will become Paul Walker. So yeah, I shall be the proud owner of that on Friday. If you want it, 99p a ticket, go for it. They've only sold 44,000. The odds are pretty good. Okay, Dow's out the lows. On its way. So hopefully gold is coming down along with it. Not so much. Looks even better on M5, doesn't it? Look. So many downside targets. Dow's coming down very hard. So I think we are going to get a run out the lows. Oil towards yesterday's low. Yep. Coming down nice. Wrong account. So going to add on a break of yesterday's low. And then if we can get ADR today, I think that will probably bounce ADR, which will give me 3 positions on with a good chance of rallying on that. Look at that difference, yeah? 5% drawdown. Less than an hour ago, I was sitting in 5% drawdown on the PMI figures. Now look at me. How quick a position trade can flip, eh? Harshal, can you turn the camera and show us your trading setup? Yeah, I can show you the trading setup. Where's it gone? Where's my video gone? There was a video in the Telegram group. Oh, there you go. For some reason it wasn't loading in. Where the hell is that? There you go. That is actually before I got all my displays in place. So I now have loads of displays, if you can see them. Oh, I'm going to break the camera if I do this. Look. There's John Wick. See John Wick? There he is. And there's Ellie and Joel from The Last of Us. Vasquez. Rick and his mates from The Walking Dead. And now I've ruined my camera position. There you go. Right. Got a lot of sides on here. I kind of want to bank some of this, to be honest. I'm going to leave it. Tell, please. Brian needs a tell. Can you turn the camera and show us your trading? Oh, yeah, that's done that one. How did you get those pictures so level? I'm a perfectionist. They're displays. Yeah, anyway, they're displays, basically. So they're attached by a magnet to the wall. So you basically put a piece of paper on the wall, you stick a magnet on the piece of paper, and then you stick a magnet on the back of the display because they're made of metal, and they just goes like that, and you can reposition them and muck about with them. But if it display, if you're a geek like me, this is the shop for you, right? It basically anything you could possibly ever want from pop culture, yeah, anything. If you're into gaming, film, anything whatsoever, they've got a display for it. You can basically have. There is so much like Avengers stuff, and you can get them in all different sizes, and they're metal, and you can change them. So if I fancy having different stuff up on my walls, what I do is I pull a display off and pop a new one up. You can build collections of them. They're really, well, I like them anyway, but they're not that expensive. They're 40 quid each. You can probably tell how much I spent on my room. Quite a bit. But yeah, loads of them. But they are very, very cool. And they've got these really wicked limited editions. I've only got one of these. I've got a Star Trek one because I'm a bit of a Star Trek fan as well. I've got this one, which you can probably see actually down in the corner. So this one here is down there in the corner. And this glows in the dark. I'll have you know. There you go. Oil's pulling back a little bit. Got a bit of a rejection back in this balance on the Dow as well. So as long as this support rectangle holds and we keep that market structure on oil anywhere up in here for a push back down would be good. No, my birthday's not August, it's November. I just want to see your eyes distance from the screen. and whether you use eye protection glass on the screen or not. No, I don't. My eye's distance from the screen. That's how far away I am from the screens. That far. Arm's length, basically. Your eyes are literally getting blind day by day. Yeah. That's what laser eye surgery is for. I wear glasses anyway, but only for long distance stuff. I can't see anything on the screen if I put my glasses on because everything goes blurred. Right. So just to recap quickly on what's been going on with the EAs, the H1 set file has been abysmal today. We've banked $300, sitting in 2.8 drawdown, not done anything at all on that. So it's done all right this week, but nothing much banked today. H4 mean reversion, we've banked 0.38%, banked 1% yesterday, so we're up 0.64 on the week, not a lot. H4 is not, as I say, the market is really tight. The H4 mean reversion set file has been struggling to get into positions because the market's just not been moving. So it's sitting in virtually no drawdown at all, just not banking anything either. H1, as you know, banked 1600 today. Oh yeah, I was going to say that was 900 a minute ago, so we've just banked a load this morning, this after, literally while I've been on. I haven't even noticed that. So we've just banked pound odd. Okay, so that pound odd from this morning, that's just been banked. That's just touched ADR. Look, pound US dollar. That's banked. That's from yesterday. Yeah. So that was the reversal alert yesterday on M5. That's just banked. Euro odd has just banked as well. That was a quick one. Look, M5. That was today. So that was this morning. So if you took the ADR on that this morning or the H1 M5, they both basically pretty much the same trade. Aussie dollar yen, just done some drawdown control on the Aussie dollar yen. So just taken a small 30% loss on that from yesterday's entry. We'll be getting into another one on that on the next 5-minute reversal alert. So that's ADR now. That hasn't taken one for some reason. I bet that was too close. Yeah, it's too close for a second entry, so it hasn't taken a second on that. CAD Swiss has banked as well. Yeah, so CAD Swiss. Oh, that's an old one. So just got out of that CAD Swiss as well. After getting out of a third of it yesterday, it's now hit target. So there you go. So yeah, just bank load there. That's good. And that's just sitting in 1% of drawdown at the moment. Aussie dollar CAD is going to bank shortly as well. That is going to bank at 39, which is just about there on its way back up to that propulsion. Everything else is kind of sitting around at the moment. US dollar CAD is the only thing that's really in trouble at the moment. Well, I say it's not in trouble, it's only in 0.6, but the average is outside of ADR. So if we can push ourselves up to here somewhere today, tomorrow that will be within reach of ADR. So if we can get a push ahead of non-farm payroll on Friday, I'll be able to get out of that Aussie CAD as well. So fingers crossed we keep getting this push on the US dollar, but it seems to be waning a little bit, if I'm honest. Oil is weakening. Gold is pulling back a little bit. So we'll see. We might not get a continuation push on it. We'll see what happens. Do you have to close period when past phase 1 on feed or crest? Yeah, so you got to be flat. So yeah, you have to go flat, basically. So yeah, so you basically got to have you've got to have 5% closed and totally flat, and that's a pass. Then you're on to funded, basically, because phase 2 on feed or crest is actually partially funded. So is that your hedging set file for H1M5? No, that's H1M5. That's mean reversion, RSI. That one is the H1 hedging set file, this one. Yeah, and ADRs as well. ADRs have been doing very well. We banked 2.78% today. Blimey. That's a lot. I was going to say, we banked 2% yesterday on the ADR reversal set files. 5.68% this week. That's a lot. So yeah, going very well. Sitting in 2% of drawdown at the moment, though, so we need to keep on top of the drawdown. But all set files banking nice. What pairs are you using on ADR reversal? Everything is trading everything in the minute. If it's an ADR hit, it's an ADR hit. Take it. Right, I'm going to leave it there today. It's 4 o'clock, so I'm just going to basically wait for this afternoon. I'm just going to see if this US dollar push continues. I need some US dollar strength, basically. The only reason being because I got into gold. So I've caused my own problem. I am aware. If I hadn't have, I'd be happy, but I'm not. So Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar is pushing nicely. We've got some New Zealand dollar weakness coming through. Euro US dollar is still going okay. So I'm just basically, we've got propulsion gap forming here. So yeah, hopefully we just get that continuation strength on that US dollar, and then we'll have a look at tomorrow and see if Ryan's just made me a gold coin as well now. I've got a gold coin to add to my collection with John Wick's face on. That's pretty good, isn't it? Thank you, Brian. Why has he got a beard, though? That is not a John Wick. That's John Wick Jesus, look. What's going on with the hair? John Wick gold medallion. He's got a mullet. I suppose the hair's all right, but what's that all about? That beard. That's not right, is it? That's a reject. These are good John Wicks. That's not a good John Wick. Look, the beard should look like that. That's more of a I don't know who that is. It's quite John Wicky in the face, but I'm not convinced about that one. That's AI. Yeah, it's not right, is it? Not right. Okay, so I'll be back tomorrow. Be aware, tomorrow we've got Canadian dollar news at 1:30. So if you've got any CAD pairs on, we might get some positioning this afternoon ahead of the CAD unemployment figures. So the CAD unemployment rate is the important one tomorrow. We've got US unemployment claims tomorrow as well, which again, we might find a bit of movement ahead of non-farm payroll day, and obviously the unemployment rate, which is the important bit on Friday. So that's all the news for today done. We'll see where the US dollar goes this afternoon. We've had quite a lot of ADR hits based on the Aussie and New Zealand today. So those all seem to be unwinding very nicely. So if we can continue that strength in the US this afternoon, I think we'll probably get another bullish day tomorrow as well. And then Friday, obviously, what will happen will happen. But hopefully I'll be out of everything by Friday. And if I'm not, hopefully Friday will get me out of everything, but we'll see. If I can get one of these over the line by Friday, it'd be lovely. And the other one, I am very over leveraged on. So we will see. I'm not holding out an awful lot of hope for this one, to be honest, but oil and gold do it. Brilliant. Okay, so have a good day. I'll be back tomorrow. If you need anything, I'll be in the Telegram group as usual. But I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50 for the Frankfurt session. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon at 2:20 for the New York session. And then that's it. I'm off on Friday and I'm off on Monday for bank holiday. So tomorrow tomorrow is my last day. Because it's Wednesday, isn't it? So I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.